Hey, we are privileged to have with us the former president of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Mr. President, thanks so much for making the time. How are you?
Well, thank you, Greg. I'm fine. But we lost a great one today. Bush was just a unique character, and a great friend to all of us. So we lost a really great gentleman today.
Well, he was very good to you. You were very good to him. It was really nice that he had a friend, and you had a friend in him. We all saw the Medal of Freedom moment. I understand that Rush was not as surprised as he conveyed at that moment, was he?
Well, he knew a little bit about it, and we had to, because he was quite ill, and it's amazing that he lasted this long. Only a strong person could have. And he was actually at the hospital, and he came from the hospital, and the hospital was quite a distance away. And frankly, in a state where he had to get on airplanes, and so we gave him a little bit of a clue, and he was very excited. He was great. He was great. That was more emotion than anything else. If you look at it, that was the real deal emotion. Rush was really something. It was very interesting to see the room, though, because half of the room, Republicans, went crazy, and the other half sat totally silent. But the one thing is, everybody 100% respected Rush.
Big time. Mr. President, he was only 70 years old, and now when you see 70, that seems young. And
right.
I'm wondering, you got a few years on Rush. When a friend dies and he's only 70 years old, do you think about your own mortality for just a minute?
Well, you do think about it, but I also have friends that are in their 80s and their 90s. You look at Bernie Marcus, Home Depot. He's 93. He's 100%. It was incredible. I watched him the other night on television. He was 100%. So, I think that depending on life and genes and lots of other things, I guess it depends. But now Rush was young, relatively speaking. He was young, and he was, he just got a bad deal with what he had was something that was not going to be beaten. It was not going to be beaten, and he understood that. But he wanted to get past the election, and he made it easily. And he thought we won the election. We did win the election, as far as I'm concerned. It was disgraceful what happened, totally disgraceful. But Rush wanted to get by the election, and he did it. And he was proud of that, but he thought the result was a disgrace.
Mr. President, I'm wondering, a lot of people miss you. We knew that Rush was sick. So people have been talking about this and kicking it around. Might be too soon, but would you be interested in filling that spot? It's, 2-3 hours on the radio every day, tens of millions of listeners. There's really nobody out there of his stature other than you who could probably command that audience. Is it something you've thought about?
Well, a lot of people are mentioning that, and no, it's not anything I've thought about. But he'd be a hard one to replace. We talked to a friend of yours, Sean Hannity. He said he's irreplaceable, and I view that too. I say he's irreplaceable. But people, that is one of those little things that keeps popping up. But you wouldn't want to follow Rush. It's the old story. You get somebody like that, you don't want to follow him because some things just can't be done. He was unique.
Big time. And being alone in a room and talking for 2-3 hours, you talked about that. Yep. You know how to talk for a long time, but you do it in front of a lot of people. It's different. He was very, very talented.
What he did, Greg, what he did was so unique because he could get up and without scripts, without anything. Now, actually, the big secret, he did work hard. I would ask him, when you go on, do you just go on and wing it? And he goes, no, I actually work very hard to learn about the current events, largely. But he said, I'd work very hard for every show. And he did. I always thought maybe he didn't, but he did. And but he did something unique. You understand, you're doing so well. Congratulations on your big ratings and your success. You have done a fantastic job. And between your mother and your father, I'm not surprised they produced you because you are a winner. And they are winners, both of them. They're great people. He was a great commissioner. And your mother, I know your mother almost better. She'd have her big Christmas party at Trump Tower. It was so beautiful. And she's an incredible woman, the whole family. But congratulations on your success. But, Rush would do something that was very unique. He would be able to speak for 2 or 3 hours without phone calls, because that's easy. The calls come in and, whether they're hostile or not hostile or good or bad, it's calls, right? Then you just talk for a little while and you do another call. He would talk for 3 hours, and he'd be very spellbinding. He had a massive audience, the biggest audience there was ever in terms of doing that. I mean, I don't think there's ever been anybody like that. And he could talk and just talk, and it was interesting. And he wouldn't repeat, he'd talk about things. There'd be no repetition, and he was able to do it right up until the end. It was incredible. And he was really sick that last 6 months or so. He was very, very sick. So
the show was so
unique. Yeah,
so entertaining, Mr. President. So entertaining.
Yeah.
It was funny, kind of like you. When you use all of your faculties when you're commanding an audience. Hey, let me ask you. I hate to go political on you, but the mainstream media, a part of the left-wing media, giving Rush a really hard time, calling him all kinds of names. It's really sad. I'm wondering if you actually caught Joe Biden on the CNN town hall last night.
Well, I saw that he said that there was no vaccine when he came into office, and yet he got a shot before he came into office. And it was already in early November that we announced it, but we actually had it substantially before that. And we were giving millions of shots and millions of doses, so he was either not telling the truth or he's mentally gone, one or the other. And actually, Joe Biden's being killed on that whole thing, because even the haters said, well, wait a minute, this vaccine was announced long before. And I believe he got the shot sometime before January 20th, which was Inauguration Day, long before January. Like literally, quote, we had no vaccine when I came into office, meaning when he came into office. And he is getting lit up on that one, because even the bad ones, even the ones that aren't exactly fans, are saying that was a bad statement. So I don't know. Maybe let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Could he be joking?
Could he be what?
Joking.
Oh, joking.
Because frankly, that was a very dumb statement.
Hey, one thing I don't know if you saw, he also seemed to be spinning for the Chinese. He went out of his way to say, look, they're going to handle the Uyghurs. They're going to handle the situation. That's their business, and they should be unified. It seemed like he was working for the Chinese, maybe like Mitch McConnell a little bit. Your statement yesterday was a doozy.
Yeah. Well, his family is involved with the Chinese, certainly, a long time, and a lot of money. The whole thing is so ridiculous. We had China exactly where we wanted them, and then we had an election where we got almost 75 million votes, and some say much more than that. But we had an election where we set records. We set the record between the previous election. We had 12 million more votes. We didn't want to get 12. We wanted to get 3 million more. We said we can't lose. We got 12. And bad things happen, but you've covered that and you know it. And really bad and dishonest things happen. And when they say stop the steal, they're not just kidding. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. It's like a third world country with the elections. So we have to get that straightened out. And I think get to the bottom of what happened. I also think, go forward, but we also have to go back, because we have to get back. We have to go back. I watched him last night on television, and I think it's a disgrace, frankly, between the vaccine statement, which is just so bad and so ridiculous, where even his allies are saying they're all trying to, they're trying to go back and have it redone.
Yeah.
But I think it's just disgraceful.
Hey, Mr. President,
it's disgraceful what happened in the election. And Rush was just incensed by what happened with the tabulation. Let's call it, be nice, tabulation, the counting of votes, lots of different things. But the counting of votes, the tabulation of that election, it was disgraceful in swing states.
Well, without Rush Limbaugh on the scene, we could have a different political dynamic. Tens of millions of listeners. He's now gone, unfortunately. Yeah. Hey, you got to be thinking about 2024. I saw you driving around Palm Beach, West Palm. You still command huge crowds, parades. No other ex-president gets that. Are you thinking about running in 2024? Is your mind there yet?
Well, we had a thing the other day where we're driving along, and all of a sudden we hit I mean, there are literally thousands and thousands of people. I guess it was pretty well covered, although mainstream doesn't like covering it because, it's too positive. But there were thousands of people waving the flag, the American flag, a Trump flag. It was an incredible scene. And they heard I was going to be going that way, that route. And it was an incredible scene. And it grew out of nothing. And there was thousands and thousands of people. Now, there's tremendous love and there's tremendous spirit in the country. And the whole MAGA movement, and, call it MAGA, call it whatever you want, call it America first as opposed to America last. The Democrats have it as America last because they're willing to give up everything to China. Iran was willing to do anything, and now they're going to drive a tough bargain, and we have them in such great position. Such a shame if we don't get it done properly. And so many other things. I mean, there's so many other things that were so ready to go. And what happened with the voter tabulation, voter integrity was disgraceful. Disgraceful. It's really
people miss you. It's so weird that you're not on Twitter anymore. Every now and then I hear a vibration that you might be coming back. Are those talks underway? And actually, look, you got to be thinking about running for president, right? I mean, are you thinking that along those lines at all?
The Twitter, we're looking at a lot of different things, but I really wanted to be somewhat quiet. It hasn't been that quiet, frankly, but I wanted to be somewhat quiet. And they wanted me very much on Parler. They had a phony report that the man who wasn't there didn't. I mean, just the opposite. They really wanted me on Parler. And, I had 89 million, but that was because they held it back. And then on top of that, I had 36 million or 39 million on POTUS. And we had other sites where we had millions and millions of people. So we have, I guess, about as big as it gets, and likewise on Facebook. And they all want that. And part of the problem is mechanically they can't handle it because it's too many people. It's bigger than they are by many times. And they want to and I'll tell you, it's not the same. If you look at what's going on with Twitter, I understand it's become very boring and millions of people are leaving. They're leaving it because it's not the same, and I can understand that. And so we'll see what happens. We're negotiating with a number of people. And there's also the other option of building your own site because we have more people than anybody. So you can literally build your own site. But we were being really harassed on Twitter. They were putting up all sorts of flags, I guess they call them. They were flagging almost anything you said. Everything I was saying was being flagged. It's disgraceful. And yet you have other foreign countries saying the worst things possible, and they don't even talk about it. But it's become very boring. We don't want to go back to Twitter.
A couple of quick things. Yeah, no, I understand. Maybe building your own platform.
We're getting the word out just by putting out statements. I mean, if I want to put something out, like we did with Rush today, we did a couple of I'm Doing You, and which is an honor. But we get the word out. If we want to get the word out, it's pretty easy. There are a lot of ways to get the word out.
No, you still command enormous attention. So I want to go back again. Look, it's a no-brainer. You're going to run for president in 2024, right? I mean, you got all the support. Why wouldn't you run?
Well, we have tremendous support. I won't say yet, but we have tremendous support. And I'm looking at poll numbers that are through the roof. You saw what happened yesterday. We went up. I'm the only guy who gets impeached, and my numbers go up. I may figure that one out. Let's say somebody gets impeached. Typically, your numbers would go down. They would go down like a dead balloon. But the numbers are very good. They're very high. I think they're higher than they were before the election, and they were high at the election. And they like the job. Look, we did a great job. We rebuilt our military. Think of it. We lowered taxes, got rid of regulations. How about Space Force? Just Space Force alone would be a big achievement. First time in 74 years, a new branch of the U.S. military. So, all of the things we've done, and the border. We built the wall. Mexico was all getting ready to pay for the wall. We were going to charge them at the border, small fee, and Mexico would have paid for the wall. They were all set. They gave us 28,000 troops to police it before it got built, and now you see what's happening. And the president of Mexico is a great gentleman, by the way, but he put 28,000 troops on our border at my request, and we didn't pay for that. And we kept the border beautiful, and Now you take a look at what's going on at the border. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. Hundreds of thousands of people are going to be pouring in.
Mr. President,
it's not even believable.
You know, the situation in New York, I don't know if you've been following. Governor Cuomo seems to have lost all control. Everybody's finding out about the nursing home situation. You gave him the ship, which he didn't use, and you gave him the facilities inside the Javits Center, which he didn't use. You've been following this. It looks like he's in serious trouble.
I have. I'm a little surprised because usually the Democrats don't do it, but a lot of people don't like him. I got along with him. You know, we actually got along sort of okay. But a lot of people don't seem to like. I mean, he's being hit hard, and he's being hit hard by his own people. It's those are the people that are really hitting him, and pretty amazing. The Republicans are soft; they only hit their own, like Mitch. They hit their own. They don't hit. If he spent the same time hitting Schumer and Biden, the Republicans would be much better off. That I can tell you. But no, I looked at it, and it's surprising what's happened in New York, and we did. We gave him the Javits Center. We gave him the ship, the great hospital ship, and essentially they weren't used. Spent a lot of money, and they weren't used, and they should have been used. You could have had the patients go there. You could have had people. It would have saved a lot of lives. It's too bad.
Hey,
but
totally. Look, it's been, what, a month? Do you miss the job? Do you miss being president? You got to miss it.
Well, I do, and we were all set to make a deal with Iran. We were all set. It would have been a great deal. Now I see the deal they're talking about. It's a disaster. We were all set to. We're pulling out of the Middle East almost entirely, which we've almost done anyway. And we were bringing a lot of soldiers home. A lot of our great soldiers were coming home. We spend a fortune protecting other countries, and the other countries don't even respect it. They don't pay for it. We pay for it. Countries that have plenty of money, we pay for it. So, you know, all coming home. And everything was happening great. And then we had a disgusting, frankly, a very dishonest election. And it was stolen. It was a stolen, fixed, rigged election. And it's too bad. But we'll see. You'll see what happens. I mean, a lot of great things are happening. As far as 24, too early to say, but I see a lot of great polls out there, that's for sure. But they're not happy with when people see the people, hundreds of thousands of people, they're forming caravans. Don't forget, when these countries, and I got along great with the countries, I stopped payment to them. We gave them $500 million a year. I stopped payment. They wouldn't take their people back. I said, that's okay, don't take them back. I'm stopping payment. So we didn't give them the money, Greg. And then all of a sudden they said, we welcome the people back. But when they said, and now all of a sudden Biden agrees to it. I mean, he agrees to do that. It's doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. And when the countries send people up, because it's largely the countries that send them, they're not sending their stars. They're sending some rough people, some rough people, people you don't want to talk about. And that's a lot of the people that are coming up are, you know, not the people you want.
You know, Mr. President, you've been so good with your time. I got two more quick things. Long time ago, when you were thinking about running for president in 2012, I asked you on television if you might change your tone as president. And you talked about how your tone was working very well for you. But you said at the time, you know, if I do become president, I might dial it back quite a bit. And if I don't, you may want to call me at the White House. When you look back, was there ever a time where, you know what, look, I understand you were fighting all sides. You had to do what you had to do. But when you look back, is there like, maybe I could have eased up here, or maybe I'll do it differently next time?
So perhaps, but I'm not sure I could have gotten elected. You know, I was fighting a lot. I was fighting the fake news because we get no news other than from you and a few outlets. You know, we get a lot of fake news. You see what's happening last night with Biden saying about the vaccine, that the vaccine he didn't have, you know, with that essentially, I guess he's trying to take credit for the vaccine. And, you know, he's been lit up on that. But, you know, you see what goes on with the news. And it's gotten worse. I mean, it's worse today than I've ever seen it. It's worse today. And you look at the questions they're asked compared to the questions that I was asked. I don't care if they ask me tough questions, but let it be the same at least. I watched part of that news conference last night, and it's from a different world. It's from a totally different world. So if you're not going to be a little bit out there and a little bit strong, you know, you're not going to get elected. Now, once you're there, or if you did it a second time, I could see that being different. But, you know, when I announced, a lot of people didn't give me a great chance. They said he's not experienced and he's never done this before and all those things. And then I won, and I won relatively easily. And, you know, against some very talented Republicans and then ultimately against crooked Hillary. So, you know, the angriest person in this country right now, you know, that is Hillary Clinton. Because she said, why didn't they do that for me? Why didn't they create votes in Michigan? Why didn't they create votes in some of these states that she lost by a pretty close margin, 10,000 votes in Michigan? She says, why didn't they create these votes for me? It would have been easy. And because we did much better in the second election than we did in the first. The difference is we so-called lost, but many people don't believe that at all. So I think you can't tone it down too much because if you did, but I think going forward, you know, now I've been president, we've had a tremendously successful presidency. When you look at all of the things we've done, record-setting things that we've done, I think we could absolutely tone it down now.
Mr. President, we got to wrap it up real quick. Who is the better golfer, you or Rush Limbaugh? Because I've seen you guys on the golf course before.
I won't say, but I will tell you this about Rush. I used to call him the Bull because he was a strong, you know, in prime time, he was a strong guy. And when he hit it, it went very far. When the ball was hit properly, it went very far. I'd call him the Bull. He was a strong guy, and he was a great guy, and he's going to be missed. And there was nobody like him. And even you as a professional would say that. I mean, there was just nobody like him.
I was in awe of him. I saw him I saw him speak live once, and I realized, you know what? I'll never, ever, ever be able to do anything like that. Truly in awe. And a lot of people are in awe of you. And I am one of those people, Mr. President. You've got amazing talent. And,
you've been so nice.
No, it's true.
You've been so nice, and I so appreciate it. And your audience is getting bigger and bigger, and you're doing things that are really pretty amazing and pretty hard to do. But everybody appreciates what you're doing, what you're saying. Your point of view has become very important, and I congratulate you on that. Amazing job.
Thank you, Mr. President. Be well, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Greg.
You bet.
Hi, Emma Reckenberg here. If you like this video, there's a whole lot more to see on Newsmax TV. You can watch for free right here on our YouTube live stream and be the first one here each time our experts break down real news. Just hit that subscribe button, ring the bell icon, and stay with us on America's fastest growing cable news channel, Newsmax TV.